BBC's Celia Hatton is in Beijing and Cindy Su in Taipei. Celia, just first of all, are these symbolic or really significant?
Well, a little bit of both. They are symbolic. This is the first time that both governments have spoken directly since 1949. However, I think both sides are hoping that this will be the first talk out of many. And Beijing particularly is hoping to lay the political groundwork to begin to start a process that will lead to an eventual formal peace treaty between the two.
And we've said, Celia, these are the highest level, I think, since the end of the Chinese Civil War. But actually picking at Nanjing is a nod to history in itself, isn't it?
That's right. Nanjing was the former capital of China under the nationalist government. The nationalist government was, of course, ousted by the communist forces. The nationalists then fled with 2 million people to Taiwan. So it is a very interesting location to pick. It is a nod to history.
Cindy, I know China insists that Taiwan is still part of its territory. I mean, formally it says it will reclaim it one day. What are these talks about for Taipei?
Well, for Taipei, these talks also are a chance to build mutual trust between the two sides and to have the Taiwanese government officials directly communicate with the Chinese government officials. And that's considered very important because, after all, Beijing still has more than 1,500 missiles targeted at Taiwan to warn it against declaring formal independence. And at the same time, the Taiwanese want more economic gains, of course, because China is Taiwan's biggest trade partner and biggest source of tourists. So the Taiwanese side want greater market access to China and perhaps more Chinese investment on the island. And there are also more immediate concerns. There are around 1,500 Taiwanese people held in Chinese jails, including business people who were recruited to be spies for Taiwan, starting from the 1980s. And many of them have no government assistance from Taiwan because the two sides simply had not had government-to-government contact for decades.
There are issues of press freedom as well, Cindy, aren't there?
Yes. I mean, democracy, freedom, human rights are all very touchy issues, which many people in Taiwan want the Taiwanese negotiator, the top representative in these talks, to bring up with Beijing. But they're very sensitive issues. And this is not something that we expect the Taiwanese side will bring up, actually, because they're now trying to pave the way for regular dialogue between the two sides. They don't want to upset Beijing at the moment. But one key concern that sort of mar these talks is that Beijing has denied visas for 2 news agencies, including one based in Taiwan, as well as the U.S. Radio Free Asia, to go to China to report on these meetings. So that's a very clear sign. The two sides, although they're very economically interlinked, they're still very wide apart in terms of the government systems and democracy.
Celia, for Beijing to count these talks as a success, what has to happen or what has to not happen? What has to be avoided?
I think Beijing will consider these talks a success simply when they begin. I think Beijing is looking at the long term here. They want to encourage the Taiwanese people to feel more comfortable with direct dialogue. Of course, Beijing's long-term goal, far in the horizon, is for the eventual reunification of Taiwan and China under the umbrella of Beijing. So I think Beijing will already count this as a success. No one is expecting any major agreements to come out of this dialogue. It's simply, hopefully, going to lead to more dialogues in the future.